Hello, everyone. And I just wanted to give you a really warm welcome to the Q&A that I have up this month. I just want to thank you all for putting in all of your questions and for attending today as well. So it's going to be quite a bit informal. And so what I want you to do is I want you to make the most of the chat box and pop in your questions as the afternoon arises. So to start us off, I've got a few preloaded questions that have come in from all of the socials. So I'll start going through those. And then once I've gone through those, feel free to ask any questions you like, and we have a bit of a conversation. So the first question I have is, what's the most effective brain hack to keep the confidence rolling? Confidence. So first and foremost, it's actually understanding what confidence is. So ask yourself, what is confidence? What does confidence look like to you? And by being confident, what does it allow you to do? So in terms of brain hack, it's just asking two simple questions. Another effective brain hack around confidence is actually changing our body structure. And if you've ever seen the TED Talk on Amy Cuddy's power pose, literally standing very big like this for a total of 2 minutes. And I can tell you, 2 minutes is a very long time. Try standing like that before you go into a meeting or before you've got a big gig coming up or an interview. And what it actually does is it actually changes the adrenaline and cortisol levels within your system, and actually switches them on and turns them into a good adrenaline versus the one where you're going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So that's brain hack number 2 around keeping the confidence rolling. Brain hack number 1 was asking yourself a couple of questions of, what is confident? What does being confident look like to me? And if I was confident, what would it allow me to do? And just starting to ask yourself those questions creates some interesting things going, oh, well, if I was confident, I would go for that job. Actually, why aren't I going for that job? Okay, well, that's interesting. And the second one is the power pose. Standing big to actually broaden your body to increase your sympathetic nervous system firing to get you ready to go for whatever it is. I hope that served. The second question is, what am I passionate about outside of work? Wow, there's a lot that I'm passionate about. Firstly, my family. I absolutely adore my children. I have a 5-year-old and I have a 6-month-old. And I can absolutely get lost in playing with them for hours on end. So I'm passionate about my family and my children. I'm also passionate around gardening, as if the greenery in the background isn't enough to show you. I'm incredibly passionate around gardening, and that is gardening inside and gardening outside. And when we talk about gardening outside, it is more so around food and food sustainability, being able to grow my own food. I just love the idea of eating the food that I pull out of the garden. I love also property investing. I love learning about property. I love inspecting properties. I love watching the property market, getting onto realestate.com every week, having a look at what's being rented at the time, but also what's being sold. And property is one of my really big loves. And I talk about a lot of that within my coaching and a bit of my property journey as well. and I don't know whether you call it work or not, because I am in the self-development industry, but I still love learning about myself. I still love being coached for myself and learning more and more about myself. And really also pushing myself. So what can I actually do? What more can I do? How can I push myself further to experience more, learn more, and really take those learnings and experiences and enable others to see the good from those learnings and experiences? Thanks, Camilla, for that question. Oh, favorite author to read. Oh my goodness me, Graciela. I don't actually have a favorite author as such. I just love reading, and for me, it's about taking the bits from each and every one of those. So I love reading property stuff. I love reading investment stuff, such as obviously the Barefoot Investor. I was a follower many years ago, working through that. In terms of what I currently read, or from a leadership perspective, I love Dr. Nick Udall from a leadership perspective, who's a bit offbeat around leadership and what leadership actually is. And I guess who I've learnt from the most so far, it would definitely be around the investments, reading around investments, people, the original Steve McKnight back in 2005, 2006, and reading about those, how he was able to build a property portfolio incredibly quick. It's not the way that I have chosen my investment journey, but it's interesting seeing the different investment techniques. Oh, the next question from Alison. This one's a tough one. Thanks, Alison. How would I shift my mindset to take action in making changes that I don't want to make, but know that I need to make? An example being dieting for good health. So, mindset is incredibly powerful for this one. If you don't want to make the changes, but know that you need to make it, you are not going to make those changes. I'm sorry. You will not make those changes. That's right, you heard me. If you don't want to make those changes and know you need to make it, you are not going to. It's like telling the smoker with the lung cancer, you need to quit cigarettes if you've ever got a chance at life. And you'll see them still puffing away till their deathbed. However, if there is even the tiniest part in you that wants to make a change, you can actually take action. And there are different ways and hacks to be able to do that. But you have to want to take the action. You can't need to take the action. You have to have the want to make the action. So an example being myself and my love of sugar. If we're talking about dieting for good health, I love sugar. Now, me saying that does not make me feel good when I say that. But is that enough to make me stop sugar? So, in order to actually change my mindset to stop myself from liking sugar or from wanting to have sugar, it's about finding a mechanism or something which absolutely disgusts me. That absolutely says, no, you're not going to have sugar. And for me, the mechanism is around control. I love to be in control. So I need to tell someone, I'm going to tell you guys now, how I am so not in control when I have sugar. And as I tell you about me and how I'm not in control around sugar, if I see a sugar, chocolate, for example, on the kitchen bench, I will have to have that. And I will go have that, even though I'm trying to reduce my sugar intake, even though I know that sugar leads to visceral fat around my organs, even though I know sugar is not healthy for me, even though I know by having sugar, I'm an extra 8 kilos heavier than what I could be or should be. But I'm telling you these things in order to find ways to disgust myself enough to stop me from having sugar. So if there is a change that you want to make, you have to have a small want. And that small want is enough to then find a way to work out a way to disgust yourself in order to make the change. And we talk about disgust, and disgust is one of the strongest human emotions. And, it could be that, you know what, Simone, if you continue to have sugar, you're going to end up as a fat blob, and you will probably die of a heart attack based on your sugar consumption. Is that enough to motivate me? Maybe, maybe not. But if I was to say, you know what, I have no control around sugar, and that's my lever. The lever for me is control and not being in control around sugar. And so if I then sit down and work through for myself around control, how does not having sugar give me even more control? Bam, watch me in a month or two's time and I'll have had no sugar. So I hope that helps you, Alison. So the way to shift your mindset into taking action is first having the smallest want to do it. And if you have the smallest want, it is then finding the best way or the lever that will disgust yourself. Because disgust is one of the strongest emotions that will move you into action. Another example is members of my family. Members of my family absolutely motivate me to doing something as well. And they can be levers as well. Advice about time management. Thanks, Vanessa. What a great question. So, as much as I'm well known for brain hacks and being able to have these hacks to dissolve insecurities, to get you off autopilot, to think differently, I've realized that one of my superpowers is also life hacks. And being a mother of two, being a property investor, doing consulting as well as coaching, I lead an incredibly busy life. And in terms of life hacks, I have many life hacks around time management. So an example of what I do, and it is what I do is small activities whereby I may almost double hat. So if I'm in the car, I make the most use of that time in the car by contacting the people within my network that I've needed to do it, or listening to a podcast that I've got on my list of podcasts. So I will occasionally, in those down times, double hat to enable me to maximize my time. Another piece of advice that I have around time management is before I go to bed each night, as I am putting myself to bed, I ask myself the question, what do I need to work on tomorrow? And I usually work out one or two things. But the most important question that comes out of this is, what is the most important thing to move me forward tomorrow? And I work on that one or two important things each day. And it changes depending on what I feel is most important for me at that time. So that gets me really incredibly focused. It stops me from procrastinating. It stops me from waking up in the morning going, oh, what am I going to do? because I already know, I've already set that in my mind the night before of what I'm planning to do tomorrow. I also make a lot of use of lists as well from a time management perspective. And I'm just showcasing one of my lists right now. And I actually chunk my lists. I chunk my lists into life admin, property, business, people networking, people to contact. And I chunk that down. And nothing feels as good as crossing things off my list. And you see that I do it via literally the pen and paper, because it's the physical action of writing it down. Now, the things that are on this list, it's not about writing a list and never doing it. It is around really keeping topical of that list and which of those one things that's going to move me forward for the next day. So I hope that's helped there, Vanessa, around time management. If the next question that I have is, if I could do one brain hack, what would I recommend? Oh, thanks, Carolyn. Oh, what a big question. One brain hack. That's a hard question. The reason why I say that's a hard question, Carolyn, is it really depends on what you're wanting to do the brain hack on, and really what the problem is, because there's one brain hack per problem type of thing. And I guess one of my stronger brain hacks is around understanding yourself and being in alignment with yourself. And so therefore, an incredibly strong brain hack, depending on the circumstance that can be made right for you, is meditation and guided meditation. And when I talk about guided meditation, I'm not talking about the meditation that you have, or, you know, just a random guided meditation. I'm talking about really specific guided meditations around alignment to yourself. So an example of one is, and I guess why it is so strong meditation is it drops your brainwaves into from beta to alpha brainwaves. And the alpha brainwaves is the gateway to your subconscious and unconscious. And why that's important, why we even want to get in touch with our conscious and unconscious self, subconscious and unconscious self, is 98% of our decisions are made unconsciously. So you heard that right, 98%. Not only that, but in any 1 second, we are processing 40 to 50 bits of information consciously. So you're probably seeing me talk, you're seeing my hair, you're seeing the background of me and the lines and the shapes that form my background, as well as parts of whatever's in your environment as you watch me. That's what you're processing consciously. Subconsciously, in this same time, you have processed 11 million pieces of information. That's right, 11 million pieces. So if that isn't enough to tell you who's in the driver's seat, I don't know what is. So when I talk about meditation or guided meditation, it is about opening that gateway to your unconscious self. And your unconscious self doesn't actually speak to you like this. It speaks to you in visuals and urges. So, I guess a particularly strong brain hack that you could look at is, what is your unconscious self trying to tell you about decisions that you're to make? Or what is coming down the line from your future self? And an example being that I have had when I've opened up my mind to what I might be doing and experiencing in 3 months' time, is I saw myself running in the bush. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I don't run. And the reason why I don't run, there's a whole story behind that, but I will do anything and everything to avoid myself from running. So for me to subconsciously visualize me, so what I believe so incredibly randomly, running through the bush, I went, well, this is curious. And what was amazing about that visualization was that 3 months from that point in time, almost to the date, I randomly found myself going for a bushwalk and randomly starting to run. Now, you can say that I consciously decided that, or I actually subconsciously decided that, and it just surfaced 3 months prior. So by aligning yourself and your decisions with your subconscious and unconscious self, you have a power within you that when you do that regularly, your life will change. Thanks, Carolyn. I hope that's helped. I've got another question as well from Verna, who says, how am I such an amazing mum and managed to be the best mum as well as a wonderful coach? Wow, Verna, thank you for that. That's such a beautiful and amazing question. So it's because I love what I do. And when I say I love what I do in every part of my life. I love coaching. I love being able to see these amazing people that I work with completely transform and change their life. And when I'm coaching someone, I'm completely in the moment. And then I balance that with being a mother. And when I'm with my little people, I love sitting with my little people. I love playing with my little people. I love dressing up. I love face painting. I love behaving like a little kid with my little people. And so when you ask, how do I balance being the most amazing best mum with a most amazing coach? It's about fully experiencing each of those amazing activities right in the moment, each and every time. And I think that may be the answer as to why I try to be a great mum. I'm not sure if I'm the best mum, but also what helps me to be an amazing coach is to really sit in those experiences. Thanks, Fiona. Have we got a few more questions? Okay. What made me leave my corporate life and go into coaching? Amazing. Okay. So I've lived a really colourful corporate life. I've had about 7 or 8 different career transitions. That has ranged from neuroscience, data analytics, project evaluation, strategy, engagement, workshop facilitation, heading up pools and gyms in a region. So it's been a really incredible, colourful work life. I always said that when I retire, I'll go into coaching. I love coaching. I feel like I've drunk the Kool-Aid or the elixir of coaching and I can't get enough of it. I just love it so much. And so a really random thought passed by me in 2021 as I was, right in the middle of doing some work from a corporate sense. And it was a question that just came out of, it seemed to come out of nowhere. And the question was, what if you didn't work anymore? what if he didn't work in corporate anymore? And I just went, and I let fear come in. I already knew what the answer was, but I let all the fear come in because it was everything that I had always known. And I let the fear sit with me for 3 weeks. I already knew what the answer was, which was, it's time to leave, Simone. But I had to allow my head to catch up with what the rest of my body was saying, to say, time to leave. And the result is now I'm living an incredibly happy life. I'm living a life that I myself have designed. I'm living a life whereby I get to see the transformation of the amazing people who are also living their best life, encouraging each other and leaving the world in a better place. Fabulous. I hope that's helped you. Oh, we've got the question around, why do I have crazy color hair? Awesome. So I've always loved pushing the boundaries on hair and pushing the boundaries on stereotypes and biases. And so for this is really about thinking creatively, energizing other people to think creatively, but also thinking out of the box. I'm not your typical person or your typical coach, and it's to inspire others to also think out of the box. Hey, if I can pull off the rainbow hair, or I can pull off the blue purple hair and still be taken incredibly seriously for what I do and intelligently, what else can you do? What else is possible for you? All right. Is there any last questions? Oh, how have I created the mindset to be able to go into property investing? Whew. That's a great question. So, how have I created the mindset in order to be able to go into property investing? Well, it's really about learning, researching, taking risks, understand what your risk appetite is, understand that it's even possible. Now, I was a saver years and years ago, and there was no way that I would ever have gotten into property investing being a saver. But the more that I learned about what my future could look like if I didn't get into property investing, the more it propelled me to go, there's another way. And I work hard, but I want my money to work just as hard as me. And so the very first house that I bought with my partner was actually a place to live in that we could also do up and renovate, but also subdivide. And as soon as we got onto that and we renovated and we successfully subdivided and we successfully built and moved from the front house to the back house, we went, this investing journey, there's something around that. And it's gotten to the point now where for me, it's about having the right people, the right team to help me make my next investment choices. It's about forecasting into the future, understanding what's the lifestyle that I want now and in the future for myself and my family. What do we want to do? What do we want to achieve? And being able to forecast what we can, how we can make that happen and the different ways we can make that happen. Fabulous. Is there any last questions? What do I do in my downtime? What downtime? No. As you've probably worked out, I like to read a lot. I actually like to lose myself in the garden. I like to really enjoy spending time planting and making things green, as you can tell. And of course, playing with my children. Fabulous. Well, I thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to the next Q&A session in a couple of months' time. Please have a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful festive season. Really enjoy yourself. Take time out for you. Take time out for your family. Take time out to just regenerate and reflect. Set yourself up for the year moving forward. I'll always keep in touch and see what wonderful things can come your way in the new year. Bye for now.